What's up, folks? Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined with Sarah Westall, who is a she's part of the Business Game Changers Top 1% podcast internationally, author. Um, you don't fall short. I appreciate you coming on. You cover all the subjects that I kind of cover: the remote viewing, the giants, the Nephilim, paranormal stuff, psychic stuff. I have a pretty big Christian audience. I don't know what your audience, what your demographic is, or what your audience is, but my audience is pretty big. It's pretty big Christian valued audience, and I'm trying to kind of bring in the remote viewing, the channeling into my audience, but they kind of think that's demonic, right? That's all kind of demonic, Luciferian type stuff. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me on, and we can talk all about that. Because,
Yeah, because I think something's there. I think something's there, and I've talked to a lot of remote viewers, some that have said they see the Earth's dome, they see the firmament. I've talked to others that, psychics that actually worked for the FBI and like helped solve crime. So I know there's something to all this, right? And I even remember when I was younger, I wouldn't do it now because I really don't know how dangerous it is. Like it's kind of like playing with a Ouija board, in my opinion. But I went to a medium, I went to a psychic when I was younger, and I couldn't believe the stuff they knew about me, like really personal shit, and like and like the things they said. I was like, there's no way they knew that, right? So I know there's a lot of substance here with this stuff. Um, let's kick it off with the remote viewing. I know you've had guests on. What's your thoughts about remote viewing? Where do you
well,
think it's? I mean, it's kind of crazy how they go about this, right?
I've been training for like a year and a half in it
You're
with the
training.
remote view. Yeah, I've been training on it because I'm like, okay, I want to understand this. So I started training on it. So I've been doing it for about a year and a half, seriously, like really doing it. But I had Julie Asher on, whose son, it was the number one podcast on Christmas Day, talking about her son. It beat Joe Rogan, it beat everything. And I had her on to talk about it. And it's about the telepathy tapes. Her son, Houston, was born severely autistic, and he is severely autistic. But the difference between him and us is he got all the sensory data. We have something in our brain that filters out a lot of the sensory noise. And so I didn't say noise, it's just sensory data. And he doesn't. I don't know how much it doesn't sense out, but she says it doesn't sense out, it doesn't filter out any of it. But so he's just bombarded. And because of that, he can hear thoughts. He can see the future, the past. He can compose music. He is the most studied subject by scientists at John Hopkins and Harvard, and all sorts of serious scientists are studying him. And the thought is that we all have this capability, and the thought behind remote viewing is that we get so much sensory data, and most of it's filtered out, but some of it comes through. And different people have different talents based on how much it can come through and how much you can meditate or get into a state where you can just let it flow in, and then you can, articulate it out without letting the noise of everything else get into it as well. So a really good psychic, someone who genuinely has the skills, is getting that senses from somewhere, and they're able to hone in on it, and they have stronger signals. And so that's the difference. And when you remote view, if you, there's supposedly, they think about 3% of people naturally have more of this sensory data. And if you can get good at it, you can hit targets pretty well. Like I did a target with like I was supposed, it's just training targets, but Daz Smith from the Future Forecasters group is who I train with. He's been doing it for 40 years, and he gets paid to do lost persons and all sorts of things. But one of the targets was the pyramid of the sun from Mexico, and I flipping drew a pyramid with smoke coming out the top. And I hit about a few of them are like really accurate, and about 25% of them are like, there's some good stuff, and maybe I'd say about, yeah, and then another 50% are like, if I really squint, there's some data here, and then the rest are maybe misses. But I guess that's pretty common, and you get a group of people and you can get better at it as you go. But I've had some where I've literally gotten almost all the data. Like the Hindenburg, I drew the flippin' Hindenburg with smoke coming out of it and the scene around it. So
How
I
do they do
think
that? Do they give you like a numbers or like
yes,
a shape or something, and you have to just go from that? There's no real like, hey, we need
there's
you to look at
nothing.
this.
So what they give you is a number 0092-5518 or something. And then there's a process. You write the number down and then you go through this process and you try to get all this information out. And we have 6 stages that I'm working with. There's different, I use the flow process that Daz came up with, and it's based on his military. He worked with some military remote viewers and trained that way, but it's based on his particular process, and there's different ones that people train on, but they're all essentially based on the same original ideas. And yeah, you're just given a flipping number and you're blind and you're coming up with stuff. And the thing is, for me, I've come to a point where it's more therapy for me, because you're an athlete, right? I'm assuming, because you're a top athlete, you have to be good at it, right? You were training to be freaking good. You can't go into remote viewing with the idea of need to be good.
Mm,
So I mean, if your whole thing is, God, I really want to get this, I really want to get this, then you're not going to get it. You have to just let it, not be afraid to be a moron and just be wrong.
it's kind of crazy, being an athlete, I was an undefeated heavyweight champion boxer. I was like one of the top prospects for the longest time. And I remember before I turned pro, I promised myself that I would quit at 33 years old. I was like, I'll fight till I'm 33. That's it. And I remember telling myself I'm going to go undefeated. And I always lived at that end result. I didn't have any doubt that I was going to get there. And I think it was also self sabotage as well, because when I turned 33, I started drinking heavy and I kind of just
Hmm.
blew up my career. And I think that was just from me manifesting that as a young kid, saying I'm only going to go till I'm 33 and that's it. And I remember throughout my professional career, all the belts I won, everything, everyone's like, dude, how come you're not happy, man? You just hit the top 10. You won the WBC Fecker belt, you won the NABA belt, all these belts. I was like, no, I'm supposed to win them. I expected to win them. I always lived at that,
Hmm.
at the end of the result. And then it was weird, right at around 33. I look back on it now. I'm like, that's when I lost, right? That's when I started drinking heavy. I got knifed in the throat. I overdosed on drugs. I mean, all these things happened
Wow.
to me in my life. Like the karma tab came in, and I often wonder, I was like, did I self sabotage, or how did that turn so sharply? How was I the number one guy, the top prospect, and then boom, hero to zero, like at that age, And I often wonder about that. The mind is so strong, and I also wonder, going to the psychics and things that I did when I was younger, maybe if that played anything into it, I don't know, but I also wonder, like, are is remote viewing or channeling, um are we just being an antenna tapping into the super consciousness of God, like an ethernet, or are you really channeling spirits that are giving you misinformation, some correct information but misinformation at times, taking your trust away
I
from Jesus Christ, God,
I
source?
don't personally, I don't feel like I'm channeling spirits. I feel like I'm just tapping into, just like what Houston was doing, where he was tapping into this informational source, the sensory data that comes through. And
But hold on,
I
Houston's
have,
doing it unwillingly, right? It's just coming
that's
to him,
right.
like, yeah.
Well, so are we. We're getting it unwillingly. We're just allowing us to meditate and feel it. We're getting it all the time, that we're acting on it all the time. A lot of people say people who claim they're prophet, for some reason Christians are okay with someone can see a prophecy. It's the
Oh,
same
I got a lot of
thing.
those on my channel too, but I
It's the
mean,
same thing, but they're okay with that. And
right.
I don't see a difference with it. And I think it's the exact same thing. One of the things, though, you do have to be careful. I have a mechanism where I block anything that's too dark. Like, I won't see things that are I can't see somebody being hurt. I can't see things like that. I only see things. I have a protective mechanism for myself. And some people need that, and it's just what I do. And other people, I think you could get into, because when you're remote viewing, you can feel the emotion. I'm not that good where I can really feel the emotion of some other person in the middle of an act yet. I mean, I haven't gotten there, but some people feel like like if you're being something, you could feel that emotion. That can be pretty traumatic, and those kinds of things you need to be careful of. and protect yourself of. And so we talk about that when we're training, and we talk about how to protect yourself. You don't want to necessarily get yourself into situations that are, if you're not feeling good about a target, don't do it. You should feel okay about it.
So see, then that would be hard for people that like get contacted by the FBI and like they're given a piece of clothing or
That's different.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, oof, like I'm sure that's got to be just overwhelming for them to, hold that piece of clothing or whatever. And they say that by holding their clothing or their hats or whatever, that they're able to. I think it's the DNA that's on the subject's clothing or whatever. That's how they channel into it. But that's got to be
Well, that's great you break that up. But I mean, what do we do? Not be soldiers, not be police officers, not be doctors, not be, I mean, all of them have to deal with the same situation. You have to have empathy towards your patients. You have to have empathy towards people. So doing hard jobs in society, you're always dealing with that if you're a person with empathy. So if you're somebody that can help solve a crime, but you still have to have guardrails up so that you don't let that affect you personally. I don't know because I haven't done that. I'm not that like Daz would be a good one to talk about because he found a whole network of criminal network that were abusing boys. And it
this
went for
autistic kid did or who did?
Daz did, the one that I'm training with, and he found a
Okay.
whole multinational network of people that were abusing and torturing boys. And that he was okay with, he didn't, he knows how to block it from himself to not let it affect him. But that's a service to mankind. You're helping people. So I don't know.
Agreed.
I'm not a super expert. I mean, that's a great question. And the Christians who push back and automatically shut that down, I really dislike that because I think they're judging prematurely on something that they don't understand, and they're the same people that shut that down accept prophecy, and prophecy is the exact same thing. And we're always hearing. We're moved by what we're hearing, how God is directing us. And if you're quiet and you're praying, or you're still within yourself and you're talking with God. A lot of that is the same stuff. So it depends on how you perceive it. I know pretty strong Christians who remote view, people from all walks of life, and people who have been really high up in churches who remote view. It's not something that is universally thought of as evil.
Maybe not remote viewing, but I think maybe they mean more like tarot card reading or like channeling, entities or whatever. Because she says, one of the ones Amanda Grace came on and said she tests them through the Spirit of Jesus Christ. Like she asked them,
Yeah.
nothing can come through unless it's coming from Jesus Christ, my God. But she tests them. I guess that's how
That's
she.
her method of making sure nothing.
Right. And she's,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so I understand that, right? Not everybody does that, but I mean, I get that part. Um, I think if you're just kind of like giving the keys to anything out there, like letting your body, which is the spiritual vessel vehicle, you're just kind of handing the keys off to whoever wants to take the keys, type of thing. When you're channeling, I think maybe not remote viewing, but maybe more so channeling, right?
No, but I think that's a fair thing to look at here because I think we do that all the time. I think we need to be more cognitive of not letting, I mean, go with me here, okay? Maybe we need to be more cognitive of not letting that happen to us every day, all the time, because these senses are coming into us whether we like it or not. And it's just whether we can calm ourselves down enough to be able to tap into them. People are probably being affected by negative, strong, you can call it demons, you can call it negative energy, you can call it whatever you want, all the time. And how do you keep yourself in that higher frequency or higher, with Jesus or whatever you believe, and you're not affected by that? I think that's something that we could benefit with looking at, but not in such a judgment. Every time I see a comment like that, it feels so hateful. It's like they just,
Judgmental.
yeah, they're just so hateful, so much hate behind those comments. I don't feel that they're coming from a source of love and acceptance. I feel like they're almost like don't want you to do it because they don't want you to understand how beautiful you are.
Right.
That's how
Right.
I feel about it. Yeah.
I can speak on, my personal experience, like, when I used to drink a lot, right? Like that was kind of like opening a portal to me to whatever entity wanted to come into my body and take it for the joyride. Like when I was heavy on
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised I made it, almost I didn't make it. Obviously, I almost died twice,
Yeah,
but
it's awful.
I mean, how many close calls did I get? Like, I think about that and I get scared even like I get this shock of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that or this or whatever my whole all throughout my 20s. And that in itself, just alcohol, drugs, all that, that's opening a portal, right there to whatever,
That
to
is, well, do you
anything.
think you can help people that honed your ability to sense that and help others or help yourself grow from that? I mean, how do I not let myself become emotionally fragile where I am susceptible to this kind of crap?
There were so many times I went to like anti-bullying speeches. Like I had a pretty good I held some big speaking engagements around El Paso and stuff like that for kids, and I was just giving back to the community, the hometown hero type of thing, and I'd go and speak to them, but I'd be showing up to the speaking engagement smelling like a liquor cabinet, and I was like, man, here I am telling them all this stuff, and I'm smelling like I reek of like vodka, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so for me,
You
it's
felt
like,
like a fraud at that
oh
point.
yeah, I just, but I mean, I meant well. I was doing what I could, and,
Yeah,
and like really
yeah.
trying to help kids. I wasn't getting paid for it, and I was just doing my best to help kids. I was coming from a good place, but deep down, I'm like, man, I can't keep doing this to myself. I can't keep living like this. Who am I to speak to kids? Who am I to talk to anybody when I'm not living that life? And I think for being and for also being a Christian, like you don't have to be a perfect person. Nobody's perfect. That's why I accepted Jesus Christ because I know I'm not perfect at all. And that's the beauty about being a Christian. It's not about pointing fingers and judging people. It's about saying, "Hey, I'm like you. We're both sinners, but we know we gave our life to Jesus and we're wiped of that sin." That's how I take it. And whenever I have someone jump into my comments and saying, rambling off scripture or how dare you're a hypocrite, this and that, I'm like,
That's exactly right.
you're
I feel the
you're doing
same
the
way.
worst of the worst. You're judging people, man. Like that's the worst thing you can do, in my
I feel
opinion.
the same way. And the energy, every time I read one of those, I'm just like, oh, that just feels so mean
It comes from a
spirited.
place of authority and narcissism. I have
It's
friends
so bad.
that are Christians that are narcissists, and they'll tell you how you should be living your life, but not looking at their own. They just take select verses of the Bible that they feel that pertains to them, and then the rest they dump on you. Like you should be living like this. You should be doing that. Not even it comes from a place of narcissism and authority a lot of times.
It does. And I love what you said. It's the path, it's the challenge and making saying, okay, I'm gonna try my best all the time, every day. I'm gonna try to live this life and try to honor the teachings of Jesus and what it was all about. That's what it means to be Christian to me. You live your life every day trying your best to be this. And I always say that the true meaning of Jesus is maximizing thriving. How do you maximize yourself thriving and everybody around you thriving? And then that permeates out to your city and your country and the world. It's all about how do you thrive. I really think that was Jesus's message. And thriving is something you work on every day.
And I agree with you, except I can't stand to listen to like Joel Osteen and prosperity preachers, to be honest. And that's what but I feel like I think I don't
Well, I don't preach. I
right.
don't
I
preach.
know you
I do
don't.
that on purpose. I don't preach. I don't like to preach because I think if I'm really a Christian, I mean, I don't even talk about stuff like this that much. I don't even like I have these thrive hours on Sunday night because I just have like, I got to enrich my soul because so much of this stuff is so dark. And I just want us to be able to search and for truth. But I don't want it to be a Bible study Sunday, or it indirectly is, but nobody knows it is. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't, and I always felt like the people who focus too much on churchy and preachy were doing it in a way that wasn't, so many politicians do that and it's never really from the true source.
Uh,
You know
I
what I mean? It's just
mean,
not,
look at
and
Erica
so
Kirk. I don't
like
know.
it. I know. I don't like it. Then now there are some people that true, like who are more into it, who you get in their presence, you're like, okay, they're legit. They really believe what they say, and they're not, but they're not judgmental. It's just different. You can feel it when you're with them. But so much of this is just to make a buck or something. I don't know. And so that's why I won't go there. I'm just gonna live my life the way I am, the best I can, and then let the fruits of my behavior and what I do be what I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100% it does. So let me just pivot here or segue into this. So we know that, you know, they're getting ready to UFO disclosure, all this stuff's coming out. And, you know, you've had JD Vance come on and say he thinks they're, I think he said he thinks they're entities. You've had Tucker Carlson say the same thing. You've had a lot of people agree with that, right? That they're disembodied spirits, you know, demons masquerading as aliens. I do believe we're in a spiritual war. You know, I know we are for, you know, I think we all can feel it. We definitely can see evil. We can all see it, uh, you know, parading in
Yeah,
front of us
yeah,
every
yeah,
day on television in Hollywood. We know what they do behind closed doors. We know what they do at the rituals. It's out there now. That stuff is not taboo anymore. It's mainstream. We know it, and they're shoving it in our face. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, where do you stand with that? Where do you see? Yeah, I know you have a lot of different guests on, like I do. What's your thoughts on that subject?
well, I've been covering this for over a decade with different people. I even had Paul Hellyer before he died, the Canadian defense minister. I've had a lot of people over the years that I've interviewed. I had a scientist recently who has 5 science degrees, of which one is mechanical and one's electrical engineer, and all these other different degrees, who worked for JPL, which is the largest contractor for NASA, back engineering alien craft. That's what he said. And then I just recently did a show. I don't know when this is going to air, but it'll air tonight. My show with Larry Hancock, who spent 7 years analyzing aerial footage and supposedly UFO sightings within the Air Force and within the government and people's personal sightings. And he had a team of forensics and data analysts looking for patterns, and they came to the conclusion that there's a certain percentage of them that are absolutely non-human, and even farther than that, they could tell what their mission is, where they were going, what they were studying, and went from studying nuclear weapons to studying human behavior. And it's really a kind of an incredible conversation. And I've had other scientists who have been whose parents were involved with the top secret NASA programs, and they tell me, what their parents have told them about how, there's aliens from outer space, there's aliens from multiple dimensions. I don't know what to think. What they're seeming like they're communicating now is that these are spirits from other dimensions. Larry says that his are from outer space, different. So I don't know. I just take it all the data in and then we can analyze it. But and then I've had ones that there's aliens from other dimensions from outer space. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
you know,
it's
I
like
think they
all
can
the above.
from outer space. That obviously, I don't think they're going to be using some archaic type of propulsion system to get here. They're going to have to go through a wormhole or
Portals.
portals or something. Yeah, something like that, right? So obviously, then they are coming from another dimension. They're collapsing time and space
That's
to get
right. It
here.
could be that too. Yeah. Well, I've talked to scientists who are working on the plasma field. They claim that the ability to move very, very quickly, like we could go in 3 days to Mars, that kind of stuff. So traveling with plasma energy, and that's maybe that's other dimensions. Every time maybe you are using different dimensions, but our science, our mainstream understanding of science is pretty rudimentary. What they understand and what we are capable of is a lot more.
You know, I look at NASA and like, excuse me, but I look at it as a psyop, right? You're not going to tell me that we went to the moon in the '60s, not with the footage I saw. It was actually poor, you know, very poorly done. I think that was a
The
hoax.
footage
Now,
for certainly, I think the footage certainly was not real.
right. I'm not saying they didn't go there by other means, like secret space programs and stuff like that. I don't know, right? I think that's very possible, but I also think like this last Artemis 2 or Artemis 2, come on, that was also AI, and it was to me pretty pathetic. I had Flat Earth Dave come on, and I'm not saying we're on a flat Earth. I don't know if I don't venture into that. I'm just saying I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what the hell this reality is, but that even looked like CGI, and I don't know what you thought about it, but what did you think about it? Because to me, it's like they're trying to keep us hidden from something, and they don't want us to know our true reality, right? I almost feel like we're living in the Truman Show. Like this is just
It starts to
I
feel
think
that
there's a
way,
huge
doesn't it?
I think there is a firmament. I'm leaning towards I'm not saying there's not outer space outside of that, but I think there's some kind of barrier there we're not able to get past. What's your thoughts?
I think that I have multiple things. I think that we probably have more abilities than they're willing to state. I have a super hard time with not going back to the moon in 50 years and then them
They
just
lost the
doing a
technology.
flyby.
Didn't you hear? They lost it. Oh,
I know. I
that
have
was
a
their
really
excuse.
hard time with that. How do you just lose the technology? That's such BS. So no, I have a hard time with that. But and any thinking individual has a hard time with that, right? Supposedly
Which is
there's this.
why I think that fake moon landing created the flat Earth. If it is a psyop or whatever, that created all the other avenues to other ways of thinking that there may not even be outer space. There's people who don't believe in outer space.
I know. I know that. And I don't know what to say to all that. I think it's if it is a psyop, it's a pretty big one with a lot of people involved who really don't believe it. And I have a hard time with that too. I have a hard time with so many people that work for JPL and NASA, so many people that are working on aerospace and that whole area. I mean, you are duping hundreds of thousands of people who truly have been working on it their entire life and believe it. So that's the part.
Well, I believe that at ground control, whatever, I think they were duped for the first moon landing. Come on,
Well, maybe
they
and
all
maybe they
really
were, but
thought
you
they
know
were
what I
going there.
mean. But you know what I mean? It's like, can that many people? I just watched everybody be duped with. I mean, I don't know, but can they really dupe that many people? And people will just light up the comment section. Okay, I'm an idiot. But can they really dupe that many people to that level who are that smart for that long and that deeply and fake missions? I mean, and get that many people on board? I don't know without more solid information coming out that it's fake. I mean, like with the COVID thing, solid information came out of what actually happened, right? We are seeing clear indication of what actually happened. We're not seeing that level of clear indication that things are faked. I mean,
Have
the
you
footage, maybe, yeah, but
have you looked into the 1986 Challenger? The astronauts.
the doppelgangers, yeah, I had them on. I
I
did a
can't
whole thing on
explain
it.
that. I
That is
can't
a
explain
bunch of
that.
doppelgangers. What did they do? Now I did a thing on that with Justin, and then we put a reel out and it went viral.
What I I can't explain that. Like that's just too crazy to me. I mean, if just what to keep us in mass trauma. I mean,
I
have the
don't
shit.
know. That's a really good comeback for me saying, well, Sarah, but you know what I'm saying? How are there this many people? I don't know
Look,
because it
they're
doesn't make
obviously
sense to
trying really
me.
hard. These powers that be, these people that control the media, control the knowledge, control the indoctrination camps that I call schools, or I call schools the indoctrination camps. Um, we're all fed the same material since we're children, and
But
we're
you know
led to
what I'm
believe in
saying?
dinosaurs and in evolution, and then in we came from slime. We're in a spinning ball going 86,000 miles through space. I mean, honestly, now looking back on that, that's all sounds way more ridiculous than what some of the flat earthers believe.
Yeah.
Like serious. It kind of, but the reason we fight it so hard is because we were taught that as kids.
I
We
don't
were
know. Maybe multiple things are true. Maybe we're living in a simulation. I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. And maybe multiple things in a simulation, multiple things can be true.
100. Whatever you believe it to be, it becomes right. It is that.
That's right. You can, or whatever
That's
it's programmed to be, you can program 10 different realities or multiple different realities,
so. If
infinite.
you believe in a flat Earth, that's what you really believe. That in then it is. It is.
It could,
And
I,
if someone else believes it to be a globe Earth and outer space and aliens out, and then they create that existence. I mean, I think that's what. If I had to pick, that's probably where I would be. That's the lane I'd go in is simulation.
well, if we're in a simulation, that certainly could be how it works,
I'm just
right?
yeah. I'm just gonna say that I've dabbled with psychedelics when I was younger, and I've done DMT, and I saw the simulation. I know I saw it, and that's why I can kind of say I'm in that camp because it was like peeling back the veil of our reality of our existence, and I just cut through the universal fabric and saw the cosmic math and geometry, and everything came at me like in a portal and a wormhole, and I was flying through it, and I know what I saw, and it was as real as me looking at you right now, and I couldn't stop it, and it was like information just flooding at me, and realizing like that we're in this matrix of code.
Well,
And
we are. We're in a frequency of code. I mean, whether that becomes naturally, we're in a frequency matrix and it's just kind of the way the universe is, or whether it's a programmed frequency matrix that is a simulation. But both are true. I mean, we truly are in a frequency matrix.
I agree, and I think whatever these beings are coming from wherever they are, they just know how to jump frequencies and come into. They're able to like whether it's coordinates or however they do it, whatever they're using
Well,
to
it's just
just
a phase, right? A portal. A portal is just going from one, like when Star Trek Beam Me Up, Scotty, when they kind of phase out and then they go to a portal is really just moving out of your dimension and then moving back into, moving out of your dimension to another one and then moving from that dimension into back into yours in a different place in your dimension. That's all it is.
right. And we did it. You saw the footage from the Malaysia flight. We're obviously doing that at a government level. They made that flight disappear because there was a lot of what scientists on it that had valuable information. And you've seen this, right? The Malaysia flight flying, and
Mhm.
then some orbs go around it, and pow, it's gone. And it's like, what? A lot of people say they went to Diego Garcia base, but like that's proof that that stuff's there. We have the technology already. So who's to say that these aliens and ships that are flying over here are not our own government with biological or EBs on board that are like androids, whatever the hell they are? I mean, AI beings uh, posing as aliens. I mean, all possibilities are on the table here.
Or there's ancient beings that are pre-biblical that are here that that have really advanced technology, and we are just being managed by them. I don't
Fed
know. That's another
prompts.
theory. And the Bible talks about, these civilizations being there. How do they just there? So Adam was part of, and Eve were part of some. There were groups of people here before.
You see it with the pyramids. You see it with these beautiful, magnificent structures that are there that I have no idea. What is it? Tartarium, uh,
Tartaria was
Tartaria,
an
right? I mean,
empire.
how do you explain this stuff?
Well,
I think
Tartaria, I know somebody who grew up in Romania who was trained when she was a little girl that learned about Tartaria, as if it was just that was the empire. It was an empire that existed and then they just wiped it out. What is that?
why? Because they were getting too advanced. They were getting too ahead of themselves, and they just reset. Like
Or
who
that,
reset them?
or they want the powers that be didn't want, they took down that empire. It'd be like taking down the US empire and then wiping us out and reconstructing history from the perspective they want people to believe it to be. I mean, we just went through where they changed things and repeated things in the mainstream media that was just so obviously not true.
100%. Yeah, it's almost like we go through these cycles of evolution with human beings, and every time we get to a certain point, they just reset us. And that's obviously I've heard 2030 is like a mile mark, is like a marker for
Do you
something
think
to
we
happen.
get too populated? They feel that Earth can't
I think
handle
that's
it
already
and
happening. I think it's already happening. I'm seeing so I don't know, but I feel like more people are dropping than I've ever seen in my life. Like I don't know if it's just because I have access to the internet and I hear about it more,
there's a lot
or
more
if
young
everyone
people
took
getting
this,
cancer.
and I don't want to talk about that on here, but this, and maybe they're just pop, 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 and there's something going on though, and I think there's a purge. I think there's a purge happening right now, and it's going to happen for the next 20 years or 30 years, but however long, and it's just more and more people are dropping. I think you notice it, right? I can't be the only one that sees this.
Well, statistically, I have Ed Dowd on my program a lot, and we talk about statistically, it's above insurance rates are above. I like to see the science behind it. I like to see the hard numbers, and the hard numbers are saying, yeah, it's off 10-15%. So what does that mean? And what does that mean for the future? There's more kids getting cancer, young people having cancer. What
Turbo
does that
cancers.
mean? Yeah.
It's scary. It's like there's
Mhm.
obviously some kind of nefarious.
I don't know. I don't
There's
like to
something out there
dwell
trying to
on
get rid of
negative,
us,
but
man.
yeah, I know. And so I don't like to dwell on the negative because it's like that's why I do my Thrive Sundays because it's like, okay, we need to enrich our souls, but yet we don't want to be like an ostrich and put our head in a hole and say this isn't happening.
You've got to be aware. Every time I relate it to boxing, every time I went into the fight, like I was very confident I was going to knock him out, but I was very aware of everything that could go wrong. And I had to know the situation. I had to know every millisecond of that round. I was
Hmm.
aware of everything that guy could do to me, and I went in there terrified every time. When I lost my fear is when I lost, and you always have to have that sharpness, that fear, and know your surroundings all the time. And I also credit it to growing up on the border because I grew up on both sides of the border in Mexico and in El Paso, and you grow up very street smart at a very young age, and the criminal element over there makes you sharp, and you got to be aware at all times of everything.
Wow,
So
that's an interesting background.
oh, it's very different growing up in the border, man. It's a
So
completely
you grew
different.
up with some cartel families, some
Oh yeah,
cartel kids.
oh yeah, we all hung out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad if you see them. You went into your direction, got out, and they went in their direction and now part of the cartel, right?
Well,
It's their
there
family business.
it's you got the rich, what we call the chilangos, or the you know
Mhm.
the rich kid Mexicans, and then you got the street kids, and then I mean, especially where I grew up, this area was all everyone went to school together. You had gangs and machuca jackies, the project kids going to school, the suburban kids. It was wacky. It was wild. Like everyone was together, and it was just
That's
crazy.
great though. That's cool. That's how it should be.
I mean, I definitely made a lot of friends in low places and high places. Everyone was the same, man. I mean, we all just,
Yeah.
but it's not like that anymore. I think El Paso's
Mhm.
changed a lot because the borders changed, and the way that people perceive
How
the
do you
border has
think
changed.
how
When
do
I
you
used to
think
go
it
there, we used to just say, "Hey, I'm American," and you just walk over, and even when you're coming back, you're vomiting everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, no problem, come on." They just let you cross, and like,
Well, yeah, you didn't even seatbelts weren't even. So, how do you think that changes culture? Because when I was growing up, everybody went to school together. But now, when my kids are growing up, more kids were in private schools, and there's more differentiation. There's more people homeschooling. There's more saying no. They want to separate. I mean, we're turning into almost third world kind of thing.
I think it's scary. It's sad. We're losing our culture. We're losing our human connection. I really do believe that because now everything's internet, AI. I don't know. I think where I missed. I was at the tail end of that that
Everybody was
time.
together. Yeah,
Yeah,
we all
where
hung
everyone would
out.
party together, and it didn't matter
Yeah,
what color you were. Everyone got along, man. Nobody ever thought about all the divisional stuff that's out there now, and nobody wanted to be on a computer. Like, who would want to be on a computer? Like, everyone was out living life, like enjoying it. It's not
that's
like that
right.
anymore. I've even asked people around here, I'm like, do kids still go to Juarez and party or doing it? No, no. I'm like, wow, man. Like, that's crazy. I remember you couldn't stop us. Once we turned 13, 14, we got our fake IDs and we were going over the bridge, and like that was our Las Vegas. And just every high school in El Paso would go there and just tear it up. And it was just awesome. I was making sometimes $5,000 a weekend. I would throw parties, I'd throw flyers all over the
Oh,
parking lot.
really? You
Yeah.
did? You had to charge everybody to get into a
Yeah,
keg
I'd go to the
party?
owners of the bars and I'd be like, "Hey, man, me and my friends would be like, we're gonna bring a party here Saturday night. We're gonna put the flyers out." They'd give us like $1 a head, right? And it was $5 drink and drown. So we get $1 off the $5. So everyone would pay just cash, and then we count up the money. Yeah, we got screwed a lot, but whatever. But I mean, I was still, that's the way it was out here. Like, it was just free for all. It was insane. It was a wild west. We grew up in the wild west. I did.
Well, but I look at my childhood and we grew up with everybody too. Nobody knew they didn't have money or did have money. I mean, it was just everybody was together.
There was times that like I stayed in Mexico. I'd sleep there for
Wow.
I'd get a hotel or a motel and sleep there and just hang
Nobody would
out.
do that
Go to the
now.
bullfights. I'd go to the bullfights. I'd go to the cockfights, the rooster fights,
Wow.
go to the mercado and eat all the Mexican food I could and like ceviche and like have the time of my life. It's not like that anymore.
Are you 100% Mexican?
No, I'm half.
Half?
Yeah, my dad's side. But I mean, it was just
So your mom, because my kids are like you. My husband's from Mexico.
okay, yeah. So yeah, half a half breed.
Dude, my kids are, well, they're half breeds too, I guess. I've never
I'm a
called them
mutt.
that, but yeah. But we're
But
all
the
mutts.
Mexicans never
Come
really
on.
accepted me here, you know. They were always like, "Nah, it's too."
Oh, really?
Yeah, so and even the whites were
Uh,
like, "Oh, he's Mexican." So it was just funny. But
yeah. I don't know. My kids never felt that way, I don't think. My son almost looks Middle Eastern. My daughter looks kind of
where
Hawaiian.
do you live though?
Well, I live in Minneapolis area,
Oh, so that's different. Here the border is different.
I imagine.
It's a way different upbringing here, man. Like it's different world, way different world. I can tell you like I like growing up here was the best, man. I don't think I could have had it any better, but it also breeds alcoholism, which is like most of my friends that died from alcoholism, like they kept that culture. The culture in El Paso is heavy drinking because you start very young and it just continues. It doesn't,
Mm,
I've never seen
yeah.
anybody just stop. I've stopped, but like most people I know, that's the culture of El Paso. Or at least when I was growing up, like that's where you went to go party, you got drunk, you were vomiting coming over the bridge. You were, or running from your life because someone's chasing you or what I don't know, whatever. And it just continued. Like every single one of my friends continued to party and drink all the way through the 30s, 20s, 30s, and a lot of them have died already.
Well, if you either when you get to your late 30s, 40s, you either stop or you're going to die, or you're just going to be
You're
kind of
done.
it. You're
Yeah,
done. And you
there
have
is
to stop or be done.
hopefully something scares the shit out of you enough to stop. That's what happened to me. And I said, I stopped. That's why.
What scared the shit out of you?
Almost dying twice,
Okay, well,
losing my entire career, my boxing career to where I was like just a bum from hero to
mm,
zero, and then like living in darkness and having thoughts of this every day, waking up, and I was like, I can't. I go, have I ever given God a chance? Have I ever really stopped drinking? I mean, if I take myself out and I go and let's say there is a judgment, and I haven't, and I say that I never gave God a chance, can I live? Can I? I mean, am I willing to take that chance eternally? And I said no. I said so all right, I'm going to take the chance and just not drink. I'm not going to drink anymore. Let's see if my life changed. And boy, did it ever change. Like,
you hit bottom and then you just said, I want to be different.
yeah,
And you said, you wanted to live the teachings of Jesus, right? You
yeah. I mean,
embrace Jesus.
it's that. And I wanted to save my life. I deserved to try to have a good life. You know, I've always been
That's
in an
right.
abusive life. I
Everybody.
had a boxing is the roughest sport there is, man. There's nothing inside the ring, outside the ring, just the life of just it's abuse. It's complete abuse.
So
And
is the sport
it's
abusive, or were
horrible.
the people all
Oh,
around it
it's horrible.
abusive? Mm.
Horrible. Horrible.
You
Like,
wouldn't recommend others going into it. It's not something you
oh, no
are would.
way, man.
Mm.
Play baseball, play football, even play basketball. Fighting is for like literally, like say Rocky said it best, it's for bums. You're almost guaranteed to be a bum. You know,
Is it because the whole sport's about beating somebody up?
it's just it attracts the worst people on the planet that want to take your money, and they're going to use you. They're flesh peddlers. They're professional flesh peddlers. As good as you are as getting in the ring and training every day, they know how to. They're
Well,
con men that run the
you were a
business.
premier athlete. So when you became one of the top in the world, were you treated differently, or were you still
No,
it
I
was
had a lot of
still
pressure on me. No, I had a lot of pressure on me, too much, more so than the next guy, because I was a good-looking Hispanic kid, and I was young, and I had power in both fists, and people expected a lot out of me. So every time I went into a fight, I wasn't just expected to win. It was how was I going to knock that guy out? What kind of sensational knockout is it going to be? And I couldn't live with it
uh
anymore. It was too much
were
on
you
my
on those
psyche.
HBO specials? Like they'd
I
pay like
no, but
$80 or
I fought on television. I fought on pay-per-view. I fought.
yeah, pay no, that's what I mean, the
Yeah,
pay-per-view
yeah, yeah,
specials.
yeah.
Yeah, and they'd pay like $50
Oh,
to
I got
watch you
screwed.
fight.
I don't. I mean, we're turning this into a boxing segment,
I
but
don't
yeah,
know.
I
I'm
got
asking you
screwed
questions.
left and right on there. I mean, I got so much money taken from me. It's like is just, and I had to just accept it. I didn't know. I was so busy training and paying attention to my trade that I didn't have time to think of my business affairs.
Well, that's why you need a good agent, right? Who actually gives a shit about you. And it's so hard because they just take advantage of people.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Good luck in boxing. Good
Oh,
luck.
that's too
Good luck with
bad.
that.
Well,
Even if
well,
you're
now you.
look at Mayweather right now, he's broke. That dude made $1 billion and he's broke, but that's his fault. But I'm just
No,
saying,
did you recover or have some of the money that you made? Do you
not
still have it?
much.
Well, but
Not
now
much.
you're making, now you're
Now I'm
doing
doing
really
well
well.
because I'm dedicating my life to something that's not taking hits to the brain. But it's like, I mean, it's yeah, it's better, it's healthier, but yeah, yeah, it wasn't, it didn't. Speaking for myself and speaking for a lot of others, it doesn't pay well because you get screwed.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately,
pimps
if
and
you're
hoes.
not look, but you know what? If you're not looking out for yourself in whatever it is that you're doing, you can get screwed. I mean, that's a life lesson.
Yeah, but in boxing, you're paying
It's
attention to
worse.
training and you're training 24/7. It's a lifestyle
I know.
and you're depending on other people to connect you with fights, television, all this stuff, and everyone takes their cut, and then you get your cut at the end of the day, and then taxes. It's a joke,
By
really.
the end
I
of it,
mean,
you have
it's
none.
what's that?
I said by the end of it, you
Oh,
have
you have
none.
nothing,
It's
and you
kind of
got
like
you got
the
in the ring to fight
entertainers.
your heart out, and you just,
Mm.
I mean,
They give you enough just to keep going.
yep.
It kind of seems
And
like it.
then
It's kind of like some.
all it would really do is pay for the next training camp and then training
Mm,
expenses. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible, but I wasn't in it for that when I was young. I was in it for like the status, the women.
you got all that,
I
did
was like, I
you?
got
Did
all
you
that
get
for
the sta
sure.
Did you get all the women?
Yeah, I had fun. I'm not gonna lie, but I had a great time. I'm done, man. I
Well, now
think
you're
with the
fighting here, though. Now you're fighting Facebook and whatever else the stupid crap you have to fight.
yeah, but yeah, and that's a fight in itself, but it's not. More enjoyable.
It's different. I
Yeah,
know.
it's easy. This is that life was abuse. Like I mean, at the from every level was just abuse from my weight from starting all the way to the top was abuse all the way. So
Oh, now you're in a better situation. Talking about remote viewers and Tartaria.
yeah, I don't know how
And and
this went into a way. I don't know how I'm going to edit this, man. I don't know what we're
you
going to do
don't have
here.
to. You can just keep it like it is. I spent a lot of years coaching. I coached for like 15 years. I coached hockey and I coached soccer and I coached
Oh,
top
nice.
athletes. So I like talking about sports, but it wasn't boxing. I mean, we weren't, nobody was getting the crap beat out of them. I mean, I suppose that's just a different, but athletics, I think, can teach you life lessons that you just can't get elsewhere. I mean,
I don't look at I look at boxing more as a gladiator sport, and you're alone. It's a way different caliber, man. It's like comparing an AR to a 22. It's just like
I can
there's
understand.
nothing that matches it, man. I'm just saying like it's a you grow up really fast and you have to become a man very fast. Like especially heavyweight boxing,
I can
it's a different
imagine.
game, man. It's a
But
different,
does it
different
prepare you to being a drug dealer? I'm not saying that
it
that's
can
what it
prepare. I
did.
mean, but that's a lot of these guys. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Most, not I can't say most, but a lot of them, when they're retired, if like I did, they go and they become major addicts. You know,
That's too bad.
because you got to get that thrill. You lose that adrenaline, that dopamine, that serotonin hit. You don't have it anymore. And then a lot of these guys get strung out. And there's a guy here locally that in El Paso that was a superstar. We both came up at the same time. He was a different weight class. I'm not gonna say his name, but I heard he was walking barefoot downtown on meth.
That's too bad.
And this kid was a champion. I
Well,
mean,
what do you
it's
think? What do you think today with all the social media? We got more kids that are really struggling. I think we're kind of at a crossroads with people realizing social media and this. You like you said, we don't have humanity anymore. We're kind of at a crossroads, don't you think?
yeah. I don't. I wish I had the answer for that. I my only answer is homeschool your kid, keep him out of that hellhole of the public school system. I think, my personal opinion.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so. I have my Thrive Hour and I have my psychics on. Eddie Connor. I love Eddie Connor. Do you ever interview psychics?
I want. I don't mind it. I would, but I know that I get eaten alive with my audience.
Oh, with your
I'm
Christian
just kind of
audience.
like, do I
Well,
really want
Eddie
to endure
Connor,
that shit?
no, people are probably gonna light me up too. So don't light me up. Have some grace, have some acceptance of me, please. Give me a chance. But I have Eddie Connor on, who is just the most beautiful soul. He grew up. He's Christian, and we talk about what's gonna happen, and he believes that we win. I mean, we are this spiritual war that we're in. We will win this, and we are winning this. And
I agree with
we
him.
have lost. We have lost. He believes this is like our sixth time at this, and that we have lost every other time, and this time we're going to win. That's his view of it.
That would make sense with the resets and all that, right?
Yeah, with the pyramids in the past and all that. Yeah, and then we win this time, and they can't stop it. I don't know what to believe of that, but I do think that there's more people who are in tune with what's going on, and I hope he's right.
I like that.
It gives you hope.
Decoding the matrix, maybe something like decoding the matrix, we win the reset. What do you think? Something like that?
Yeah, well, we win. We win.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you. You like I'm gonna win. I know I'm gonna be the world champion, and I'm gonna stop at 33. I know we're gonna win this. We're not
Yeah.
gonna stop at 33, but we're gonna win.
No, I do believe we ascend. I guess that's a good, I think we ascend, right? As a species, as human beings, we ascend to whatever this next level of consciousness is. That's what I think.
Well, we can ascend because we understand more. We are more aware. Not the woke crap, but we're more aware of
Right,
what's
but
happening.
that was them firing, that was them stealing the awakening. Have you noticed that that woke stuff only happened after the awakening started picking up? Then they throw the woke stuff at everybody. So that was them stealing, hijacking the awakening to create this woke agenda.
Well, they always steal. They always steal that.
Right.
It's the same. It's the same with like the newer one is affordability. They're stealing that, making that BS. They do it with the what do you call it? With the green, not the green, but the where you keep things. Oh, I can't think of the word, but I
I
can't.
should be
My
having
brain's
that
not
problem. I'm the
working.
one that got hit in the head a million times.
I'm getting older.
I should
But
be.
the sustainability.
Oh,
Why would we not want a sustainable planet? We want to be sustainable, right? Well, then they took it and turned it into something else. And so everybody has these real meanings with these words, and then they steal them and turn them into something else.
that's
So
what
it's
they do. That's what evil does. That's what the other side does. Because I think the other side is like AI that's already here. And I think that's all they know how to do. They can't create or imagine it. They can't, you get what I'm saying? Like they have to steal from the source to create their own reality and their own agenda. And that's how they do it. And as long as we still have our imaginations and discernment, I think that's how we beat the biggest war to me is going to be AI. That's here already. Maybe it's always been here and it's what's been controlling humanity. I don't know. Maybe we're breaking away from AI. Maybe they're trying to capture us again with what they're doing.
well, maybe that is the matrix, and we're in an
Yeah.
AI matrix. Because if there's going to be a matrix, it has to be run by something that's like that. And the AI we see is just a human AI. I don't know. Some people think that a lot of people are not, what do you call it, non-player characters. Do you believe that?
I think it's possible. I think I have more. I think that look, I believe in shapeshifters and skinwalkers,
Do you? What's
and
a skinwalker?
people that can shapeshift are like that. You
Okay.
know, how we could perceive them as a coyote or a horse or they're a person. I think it's how they play with our perception, and I think these are interdimensional beings that are playing with our perception, frequencies, and I think that's real, and that's what we would call the spirit world or the other, spiritual realm, whatever. And the Indians have talked about this since forever, and
Yeah, yeah.
these things are real. And now with trail cams and things like that, you're seeing this shit everywhere. I don't know if you ever watch that stuff, but that's a real deal thing. Like and it's before AI. Like a lot of these videos that are up there are
Yeah.
before AI. And it's like, you see it, man. It's crazy. Like it's wild stuff.
And
So
you
I
just
know
think
this
they're
stuff.
different dimensions. It's just
Yeah.
different dimensional.
Yeah, and I think they can appear any way they want us to perceive them, like a dogman, a Sasquatch, alien, what they just however they want you to perceive them to be. That's kind of where one of the lanes I'm in, but
It could be real. I don't know if the we live in a simulation, anything can be real.
yes, you're there
But
you go. So, yep.
then you lose sense of reality. But it is. It can be that that can explain a lot of it. But I don't know if I believe that as much as I like to have a little more structure, but I do know for a fact we are all frequency and matter is just matter isn't matter in the way we think of it. It's just frequency.
Just holding itself together, right?
Hmm. And that's why I believe the whole future of medicine is frequency medicine and quantum
Well, they've
energy.
already shown it that it beats cancer. That I mean,
Hmm.
frequencies you hit them with a certain frequency, and it just
Yep. Yep.
Sarah, I got to get going. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, and I got to go check on my parents. But thank you, thank you. This was way better than I thought it'd be. I didn't e-
You did.
just for my
Good.
audience. I kind of I messed up. I dropped the ball like I always do, and I'm very disorganized, folks. Disclaimer here, but I forgot that I had you on today. We met, and I was like, oh my gosh, I dropped the ball. I admitted it. You've been an amazing guest, man. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you,
There's a
Nino.
lot of depth to you, and I'm definitely a new fan of yours. So, wow, man, this is very enjoyable.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated it too. Thank you.
Where if people don't know, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with you, but if they're not, where do they go to find you?
Well, find me wherever you are on, whatever platform, find my channel under my name and subscribe. You can also go to sarahwestall.com or sarahwestall.substack.com, but subscribe to my channel. Do that wherever you're listening.
Absolutely. Sarah, thank you so much. Stay with me just one second. Thank you.